Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with Weekly Comic Book Roundup. We've covered the first batch of this week's Marvel books. Now it's on to, well, the rest. Kick things off with Symbiote SpiderMan Crossroads, number 3. Where we left off, Spidey had ended up in the Crossroads dimension, along with the Norn Stone, courtesy of the Norse sorceress Carnilla. Of course, he wasn't alone in the Crossroads dimension. The Incredible Hulk was there too. So, but two of them fought over the Norn Stone and ended up in someplace else, where Spider-Man ended up face to face with none other than Devil Dinosaur and Moon Boy. So the issue begins. Moon Boy explains what he saw with the other human being taken away by the killer folk. Likely to be sacrificed to Longlegs. Hulk has reverted to Banner. Longlegs is a giant spider. And while Hulk's unconscious, Longlegs comes for him, but a voice begins talking to him, telling him, hey, you need to let me take over. It's and it turns out to be none other than Brian Banner. And Bruce does that about him. He attacks Longlegs and kills Longlegs as well. As well as Longlegs' offspring. The killer folk run away in terror while Brian Banner continues his fight against Longlegs. In Nornheim, Carnilla is trying to locate the Norn Stone. She knows where it is. Now it's just a case of, getting it. But she notes someone trying to watch her as well, wondering aloud that perhaps it is the mortal sorcerer she encountered earlier, Dr. Strange. It is. Strange and Black Cat are trying to figure out where Peter is, and Strange ends up basically sending Black Cat to get something he needs to make the spell slightly more powerful. But Brian Banner ends up killing Longlegs and then fights Devil Dinosaur, noting he should probably give Crichton a call when he gets back to Earth. But Carnilla sends a handful of warriors to wherever it is that to the dimension that Spidey and Hulk are in. Spidey tries to get the Norn Stone back, but they end up having to fight off the warriors alongside Devil Dinosaur. A portal opens up, however, and pulls both Hulk and Spider-Man through it. They end up in front of Crow of the Deviants, sworn enemies of the Eternals. And that is where the issue ends. Which brings us to our next book. Symbiote Crossroads is good. The little nod to Jurassic Park was amusing, eye-rollingly amusing, I will admit. But moving on to our next book, we've got Guardians of the Galaxy number 18, which is sadly the final issue. Not just the last Annihilation, but the final issue of the series. So where we left off, Seeing Dormammu was at least somewhat winning. On Chitauri Prime, Doom's army of Doombots is taking on the Chitauri, or the Dormammu-controlled Chitauri, and it turns out he has a mystical plan as well, positioning Drax, Moondragon, Star-Lord, Groot, and himself specifically to work on siphoning Dormammu's power to himself. And it actually kind of works. But Nova and Gamora are they're kind of just about to say, well, guess it's a suicide run on Dormammu, when suddenly Dormammu feels his power being sapped away, and Rocket comes through with a giant gun that Sword built for him, and the giant bullet. Doom teleports the Guardians back to the giant gun. Everyone gets into place with Star-Lord powering the gun, Gamora aiming the gun, Nova serving as the Mysterium bullet's propellant, and blasting right through Dormammu's ego skull and killing it, sending Dormammu back to the Dark Dimension. Maybe some of those chunks of ego might retain some semblance of sentience, but yeah. Later, it turns out that Talionis, the leader of the Skrull cult that kind of kicked this whole thing off, turns out that she and Doom are working together. Doom has more of Dormammu's power than he wishes to let on, and they both have plans within plans, of course. Talionis wishes to restart the Kree-Skrull War and become the new Skrull Empress and wipe out the Kree, so on and so forth. You know, the usual stuff. But so our heroes are taking a well-deserved break, and turns out they're actually kind of having there are no major alerts, so they're enjoying some time off. Seemingly, Moondragon and Phyla-Vell might take a second honeymoon. Maybe even Star-Lord, Nova, and Gamora are going to take a vacation together. But it's kind of, hey, we're taking a break because, you know what? If anyone's earned a break, it's us. That is where, sadly, that is the issue, as well as, sadly, the series ends. And that's the December previews does not list a nothing from now through December list there being another Guardians #1, so that's gonna be it for Guardians for the year. Good ending. I really like the idea that, to be fair, if you're gonna end it end Guardians anyway, especially with this lineup, having them basically gonna say, hey, you know what? Take a break. Enjoy a vacation. It's kind of the perfect place to end it at, because, I mean, a plot point early on is that Nova's in therapy. He's for good reason. But yeah, but yeah. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Moon Knight #3. Where we left off in Moon Knight. Moon Knight had taken on a psychic entity and basically defeated him by letting the entity into his own mind. He had also discovered that there's another acolyte of Khonshu nearby, and we the readers were of course informed that this other acolyte is also a fist of Khonshu, who goes by the name Hunter's Moon. So the issue begins with Moon Knight in therapy. Explaining he has an enemy. And his therapist was like, well, you're a superhero. Isn't that kind of, par for the course? And Moon Knight's like, yeah, when it comes to me, it's not that common of a thing. I don't tend to... Most of them don't survive attracting my attention. But he goes on to explain that he's actually kind of, if anything, he's actually more afraid that he is the one who set this whole thing up. Who he's his enemy. But later, Reese, his assistant, is rather mad. Apparently, one of the others, Ted, one of the other vampires, was attacked with one of Moon Knight's what appears to be one of Moon Knight's crescent darts. And he's actually glad that she came to him with it, rather than trying, letting herself, but. And she said, part of the reason she was wondering is that, people talk about what all things Moon Knight has done, and he's just like, yeah, I did all those things, and more. But he goes on patrol and runs into Hunter's Moon, who introduces himself as a Fist of Khonshu, with Mark kind of saying, I'm the Fist of Khonshu, they're just me. And so Hunter says, even a man has two fists. So they fight. Hunter's Moon derides Moon Knight's style as, and explains that he's there to correct Mark, explaining that vampires are enemies, not not people to care for. But apparently, Hunter's Moon knows nothing of the psychic entity Holly. But yes, he did attack vampires. But it's explained that basically the Khonshu pretty much downloaded the fighting knowledge of previous fists into the mind of Hunter's Moon, whereas Moon Knight simply learned how to fight. But the fight ends up with the mission with Hunter's Moon going after the vampires, but Moon Knight's able to stop him with a baseball bat. And basically says, you come after those under my protection ever again, you better kill me. Because when I come back, and I always do, I'll do you like they did Osiris. They'll never find all your pieces. He tells Hunter's going to drive himself away from his temple and avoid his attention in the future, lest he becomes even more interesting. And that is where the issue ends. This is turning into one of my favorite books right now. It's it's like one of my favorite books. Even it's rivaling some of the X books. I'm like Moon Knight more than the X book. Some of the X books, not all, but some. Another great issue. This is shaping up to be a really strong book, and I sincerely hope that it continues on a good long while. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Star Wars Bounty Hunters number 16. So this kind of just covers some of the events from War of the Bounty Hunters number 4, I believe. From it, we see Valance and Dengar arriving at Jakara. Valance sends a message to someone named Condor, telling them to look after Catalaya. They arrive at Jakara, but are of course not alone. They realize that everyone's there. They land far away, but Tonga and his crew are searching for their target, and Zuckus is using his Feynman skills in the hopes of, finding their quarry. But they realize that they need to go to Jakara. Though it's not Feynman rituals that told us, but rather the fact that he put a homing beacon on Dengar's ship, and it just arrived at Jakara. But Dengar and Valance take down some Crimson Dawn men and wait, basically. But they run into Boba Fett. We actually don't see most of it because, we already saw it. Vukora is actually rather impressed with the kind of shindig Crimson Dawn puts on. The shooting actually made it more enjoyable for him. And Margot informs him that he's free to stick around. There'll be much more entertainment to come. But as mentioned, as explained in War of the Banners number 4, Boba Fett left, defeated Dengar, left him stuck on a drifting chunk of ice, and teamed up with Valance. Tonga and his crew come across Bosk, who was left for dead by Boba Fett. But as Slave 1 lifts off, a giant sea creature goes after Dengar, but it's killed by none other than Deathstick. Yeah, he made a deal with Deathstick to get an invitation to the party. He explains that Valance had a transmission through a frequency on a drive that he gives to Deathstick from punishing one. Deathstick can use the drive to address the location of their old base where they're hiding the girl. And it turns out that the girl is in fact the same one that Tonga and his crew are going after. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting plot points building up. Might be continuing Bounty Hunters after Crossroads over. Don't know yet. But solid, good issue. I kind of like seeing, lead-ups to certain events from War of the Bounty Hunters, lead-up aftermath that we didn't see in the main title, so yeah. But anyway, moving on to our last book for the video. Alien, number 7. So this issue of Alien actually starts off on a completely new story arc. We are 2 years further into the future, year 2022, or 2202. But the issue begins on a ship, the UAS extrasolar vessel Heracles. Something's gone wrong on its way to a spinner colony. A xenomorph's gotten loose. Kills the crew. So spinners are all about living off the land, not using as little tech as possible. Um, but they have a calling. They have a calling on the planet of Yurdichi, and we follow our two characters we're following are Jane and Ambrose. They took down a moose and they're going to bring it back, and But Jane, there's something wrong with Jane medically, but she can't. She does everything. She's doing everything that she can to not let it show, basically. But there's a big feast because the lawyers are coming to make Yuridishi officially theirs. It's been terraformed, and yeah. But Jane explains that she almost left the colony. She's kind of the administrator of the colony, to be perfectly honest. So, and her name would have been on the contract. So, but she almost left to seek medical treatment, the kind of treatment that spinners that goes against tenets of being a spinner. And but she knew if she left, she wouldn't come back. But the lawyers are late, though. They're noting, and however, the Heracles crashes down into Yuridichi. Jane goes to investigate the wreckage, finds the beginnings of an alien nest. And we're talking like you've got the ichor that makes up the nest, and plenty of eggs. And she also finds a host who burst an alien in front of her. And it slithers off while Xenomorph watches from the roof of one of the buildings as it's joined by the chestburster. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting start. Another a channel I subscribe to on here, Alien Theory, had a video recently concerning the first arc, and story-wise, I have to agree with his thoughts on story, as well as at least to a point his thoughts on the artwork. That the artwork could be better, sadly, but yeah, I think a lot of it is I have a bias towards Salvador Larroca's artwork from being a kid in the '90s, seeing his work on Uncanny X-Men back in the day. So yeah. But otherwise, I mean, it's a great issue, and I don't know, maybe it's just a case of it's not glaringly terrible, so I can overlook the issues with the artwork. But I kind of like the idea that they're, rather than just having a running, ongoing story, they're kind of doing what Dark Horse did, which was so the way Dark Horse did the Alien books was, it would just be miniseries after miniseries after miniseries. Sometimes you'd have one miniseries would lead right into the next one. In fact, the Earth War story, if I remember correctly, actually covers like half a dozen different 4-issue minis. But yeah, I kind of like how you've got so far the first 2 arcs. The only thing that really that links them together is that they take place in the same universe, and they feature the Xenomorph. But there are elements of the Gabriel Cruz storyline I do hope will be revisited in future issues. Anyway, that's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.